right. That excerpt was put together by our correspondent, Abdul Salam Jubre, bringing us to our conversation segment on Good Morning Nigeria. Just to remind you once again that we are focusing on the Asiwaju Project 2023. And we have our guests all ready for us. So let's begin our conversations. Dr. Isa, His Excellency, Dr. Isa Yuguda, is Chairman, Board of Trustees, APC Professionals Forum, and of course, he's former Governor of Bauchi State. He joins us right here in the studio. Excellency, good morning.
Morning, man. Good morning.
Good to have you with us.
Yeah, same.
Also joining us in the studio is His Excellency, Ambassador Hassan Mohammed Hassan, and he's Chairman, Symposium Planning Committee of the APC Professionals Forum. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. Also part of this conversation, and here in the studios, is Architect Waziri Bulama, a member of the Board of Trustees of the APC Professionals Forum, and also former National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. Architect Bulama, we're glad to have you this morning.
Thank you.
And part of this conversation also, for this time via Zoom, we would like to welcome Babatunde Ogala. Babatunde Ogala is the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, former member of the Lagos State House of Assembly, and Chairman, Contact and Mobilization Subcommittee. BK, SAN, glad to have you this morning.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here this morning.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. And let me begin with the chairman of the forum, and I just like for His Excellency to give us an insight, because this the program you're about to have is organized by the Professionals Forum.
Yes.
If you can just give us an insight, what's the nexus between professionals and politics?
Well, thank you very much, madam. I want to simply put it in a very simplified manner. The nexus between, the politics and professionalism, I think, has come to be. Because all along, politics have been taken as a profession of charlatans, a profession where, people don't want to go into it because they don't believe that responsible people should go into politics. And of course, as time, went on, we come to realize that, look, professionals have to be in the business of politics. Because it is the system that runs, society. So it's the profession that runs society, and which is why professionals should be part of, politics. Because at the time of forming governments, you need professionals to run the system. And of course, the experience of Nigeria, I believe, because of the absence of professionals as time, as we were learning on the learning curve, had, impacted negatively into the rate at which we are growing. So with professionals coming into it, from artisans to rocket scientists in the business of politics, we can see a lot of value being, added to the system. We can see a lot of, corrections being made here and there to make sure that we come up with we come up on a fast track, way of growing our society and growing our economy and deepening the politics itself. Because most of these professionals, they have educated themselves in their own way. Because for you to be a bricklayer or a mason, you have to learn the art. For you to be a shoe, somebody who is a shoe shine, you have to learn. You're a cobbler, you have to learn the art. So it is skillful people now moving into the business rather than those who have not had any kind of profession in their life. Given that the impression there is that you don't have to be a professional. In fact, it is not even business of professional to be in politics. It's only business of those who are not educated. to be in politics. So I think that is where we found it very necessary to establish, to form the professional forum as an arm of the APC that will serve as a reservoir of resources from where the party can draw from when it forms government. And these professionals are from all over the world. Nigerians in Biafra, we have close to about 50 countries now where Nigerians are, and they are all registered members of so if it might be very easy for those in government, or if they want to put a square peg in a square hole, if it is not found in Nigeria, the resource can also be tapped maybe from UK, the US, where our Nigerian brothers and sisters are located and doing very well, contributing to the economies of those countries. So I think that's the reason behind the whole exercise of forming the
Well, thank you very much for your explanation, Dr. Yuguda. But I'm tempted to ask a follow-up to the question posed by my colleague, Claire. Namely, other than getting professionals to participate in politics, what should be the role of professionals in governance? You get into politics, you gain political power, and you are in office, and you are running the system, and the system is going on well or not going on so well. What is the role of professionals? Should they only be heard loud and clear when elections are around the corner, or while governance is in process? Architect Bulama, I will start with you.
Well, thank you very much. Professionals are trained, in analytical thinking. Are based, for all the professions, with architecture, engineering, medicine, accounting, insurance, all people who are in these professions, they are trained as critical thinkers that apply their knowledge to find solutions to problems. Professionals generally, whether in politics or in governance, they generate data, create information, and bring certainty into uncertainty. They make something out of ambiguity, and they profile, solutions. They design, they give briefs, reports, and so on. So those professionals, let's say, in politics, shape the way things are done within the political party, the systems and the processes and the procedures to ensure transparency and accountability and justice and fairness, so as to deepen, confidence and trust, among the party members. But the professionals also influence the emergence of the manifesto and the programs, as we have done now in shaping the policies and the programs to, as given, for instance, by our candidate. It's largely, generated by the professionals within our party, doctors and lawyers and, all sorts of professionals. So when the professionals come into government, they also contribute towards shaping, policies, implementing those undertakings that were made to Nigerians to get the vote. So professionals, of course, at the level of government, they are concerned with implementation of those undertakings and the policies in line with manifesto and in line with the constitution of the country. And governance, of course, is essentially aimed at ensuring implementing the constitution, ensuring peace and security and the welfare, of citizens. So all the policies that the party promised or took undertaking to be voted, the implementation of these policies will be shaped by the professionals within within the government. So some of these policies will be done with the professionals that are already in government, in the bureaucracy, but there are also professionals, in the wider Nigerian setting, consultants and other knowledge workers and so on. These are also will be involved, in shaping to ensure that policies in government are, effective and efficient for the benefit of Nigerians.
Okay, Ambassador Hassan Mohammed Hassan, let's look at the gap that exists, because we can't say we've not had professionals mainstreamed or integrated into a governance system. We have professional technocrats. Yet, you know, you and I know, you know, the level of governance and the quality of governance, you know, across all tiers of government. In fact, some believe or have the, you know, impression that when technocrats get into government, they are in there for precisely what, you know, they hope to attain. So how would you evaluate the involvement of technocrats, professionals that you call professionals, even within the government system at the moment?
Good. Professionals, they are very disciplined people. They are people that work on basic facts and data generated by the society. So when you want to incorporate them into the system, basically now, if you have, for example, a doctor will want to have everything in place before he operates or before he takes on a venture on someone who is sick. If you take somebody who is not a doctor, what will be the outcome? So to get professionals at the highest echelon of government and at the lowest rank of government, they display kind of professionalism in their outlook, in their approach to solving problems. That is where you expect them to be. And once they are in position of authority, that means they will speak, they are heard, and they will influence government decision. So such influence will come to bear on their output. So in the final analysis, the society as a whole they are better off than just getting people that are not professionals, that are not qualified, competent to execute government projects.
But in evaluation, I asked, how would you evaluate the quality of the outcome of the involvement of those professionals in government? Because we've had, you know, over the years, we've had them in government.
Yes.
We've had them at top positions, you know, preferring solutions, policy directions, strategies, and programs.
Yeah, there is a disconnect. The disconnect is you have the professionals proposing or coming up with ideas on how to work. Those that are to approve those policies, they might not, because I'm sorry to say, I mean, politicians, what guides their thinking might not be what the society needs.
Public interest.
Public interest. So you have to see this is the gap that the professionals forum is trying to fill.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador Hassan, for the comments that you have made. Let's bring in now Babatunde Kwame Ogala, the former legal advisor also of APC. Now, tomorrow, the second edition of the symposium will be taking place. The first held in November last year. When we say November now, that will be like 2 months or so ago. What was the outcome of the first symposium that is now providing the impetus for what's taking place tomorrow?
Kingsley, and it's good to reconnect with you again, and perhaps for the first time on your program. First, let's look at what we sought out to achieve when we had the first, what I would call the first diet of this dissecting the Asiwaju Manifesto, Renewed Hope. What did we set out to achieve? We found out that over time, parties and candidates throw programs at the people, they throw manifestos at the people. And like my colleagues have said, we are professionals, we are very well informed, educated people. We filled the party. So we went out of our way to bring together the cream of our party, the cream of society, to come and dissect what this manifesto is about. And what do we mean by dissecting it? We shredded it. We did a post-mortem on it. We did an autopsy of this manifesto and brought out the basic understanding of the issues in the common man's language. We brought it out for people to clearly understand the vision of our presidential candidates, his vision for the country, his vision for Nigerians, and his plans. And what we have done are what he has put forward are implementable plans. At the fear of sounding immodest, we are the only party that out there that has a manifesto that is being talked about. We are the only candidate that has a plan of action that everybody is discussing. We are the only party and we are the only group that have brought together the cream of its membership, the professionals within its membership, to come and put this thing, dissect it, and educate the public. And that is what we sought to achieve with the success of the first edition. And even if I'm the one saying it, it was indeed a huge success, well covered, which made for a better understanding. At that diet, we treated 4 sectors. Now we are taking another 3: women and youth development, energy and power, and agriculture. Of course, we did not remind ourselves of the importance of these sectors to our economy. Nigeria, a very arable country, not doing well in agriculture, of course, until the Buhari administration elected to give it a strong focus and apply some force in seeing agriculture take its pride of place. Power, that has continuously, power and energy have continuously been the bane. We are blessed with everything to generate power. We are blessed with everything to manage our oil resources, but are we doing so? Asiwaju, in his plan of action, has provided a roadmap and is what we are now asking our group of experts to come and dissect, to come and break down to pieces for Nigerians to understand. Of course, women and youth empowerment. We are conscious of the women's affirmation, Beijing Declaration, and what have you. Of course, our teaming youths. Today, they say the youths account for about 40, almost 50% of our population, including the voting population. What is the program for them? And I just say this here. It is not enough to keep saying the youths are behind me, the youths are behind me, or I have plans for the youths. What are those plans? This is what the Asiwaju Renewal Program has put down on paper. And that is what we have elected as a group of informed and educated professionals within the party to come and open up for clear understanding of the Nigerian youths, of the Nigerian women, of what this man has in stock for you. I say again, it is not enough to be on social media and we mouth youth. What are those plans? You don't put your plans in your head and you think you alone should understand your plans. Let the public understand it. Let the world understand it. Let the people connect with it. And that is what we are doing. And that is what we are saying. Kingsley Osadolo, NTA, and inviting Nigerians to come to the Yaradua Center tomorrow and see our group of experts, our group of professionals dissect this program, explain it in the very basic street language that everyone will understand. And I repeat again,
Leonard Sake,
is the only candidate with a roadmap.
Leonard Sake, Ogala, thank you. You seem to be fast forwarding us. Thanks for the invitation extended to my colleague, but he will be right here in the studio tomorrow. But somehow I'm sure we'll manage to find a way to be at the event. But let me stay with you. I'd like for you to clarify the context of success, because Kingsley asked you what was the outcome of the first event you held. and you said it was a huge success. Could you give us the context? Is there any tangible outcome that we can use to evaluate the success, so that when the viewer, is listening, he or she can say, okay, have something to hold on to?
Well, what was the success of the first seminar, if I get you right? And how do we measure success? How do we measure success? By how much we have been able to break this to brass tack. We measure success by the public perception. We measure success by the feedback from within the party. We measure success by even how the candidate himself, because it is important that when you bring up my program and you say you are dissecting it, because like I said, dissecting is like doing a surgical operation on it. And that was what we did. So we measure the success by the perception, by the feedback we have received, by the reportage, by the coverage, and above all, by how it has made for an easy and basic understanding. And of course, the acceptability of our candidate as a follow-up to that event. We cannot say for now, because Asiwaju Tinubu, by the grace of God, would assume office on May 29th. We can only measure the success and implementation after that date. For now, it is what it is. There are plans, there are workable plans, there are implementable plans with timelines. He has also provided a roadmap. This is how we intend to do it. One thing is to say, I want to do this. Another is how. He has not only said, this is what I will do, where he has identified the problems, he has identified solutions, and he has also laid a road pathway on how to solve those problems that have been identified. Like I said, this is the only candidate, and I start to be corrected, who has a trending action plan. This is the only candidate whose action plan is being discussed. This is the only candidate who at every of his outing, be it at rallies, be it at meetings with sectoral groups, be it at the town hall meetings, is taking on each and every sector. And as a group of professionals within the polity, we also feel we have a duty to complement what he's doing. We also have a duty. And we must say this. I mean, you can see the array of people who are seated in your studio. A former governor, an ambassador, a very renowned and distinguished architect. Isaiah Yuguda, besides being a former governor, was the managing director of a bank. That's how far you can go. Your Excellency was an ambassador, a career ambassador. Of course, my brother, Waziri Bulama, a distinguished, renowned architect and a fellow of the Institute. And my humble self, I say humble, a lawyer, a modest small lawyer in Nigeria. I mean, these are the crop of people who have put themselves together, who are within this polity. And we just felt we can't just sit down within the polity and be howling and shouting behind candidates. Let us put these things to test. So what does this tell you? This tells you that the candidate, when elected, not only has a crop of good heads who shall be his ombudsman, because beyond supporters, we are also going to be the ombudsman who are going to keep reminding our candidate, hey, Sir, Excellency, this is our roadmap. This is our manifesto. This is our action plan. This is what we promise to do.
All right, thank you very much, Babatunde Ogala, for the comments that you have made. I'm sure some of our viewers who are watching at this time, including all who are in the studios, are concerned about date. It's very significant. You did say that your candidate will become president on May 29. You didn't add the year. Is it 2023, or you're looking at 2027 or 2031? So just to indicate that, I want to, let's come back to our guest here in the studios, Dr. Asiwaju. At the first symposium, there were conversations around what is being described, and I found that a bit curious, the Tinubu economic blueprint, the Tinubu infrastructural roadmap, the Tinubu plan for a safe and secure Nigeria, the Tinubu plan for judicial and law reform. I recognize the duality in our electoral system. Namely, a political party has to sponsor a candidate. So you have the party, and then you also have the candidate. But are these organic outgrowths of the APC critical document that will say this is what APC stands for, or this is what Tinubu stands for? Dr. Yuguda.
Well, thank you very much, Kingsley. You see, you cannot separate the two. You cannot separate the candidate from the party. The candidate quite well can have his own ideas. He has a pool of, human resources that can give him ideas. At the same time, the party also does have his own pool of resources that can, contribute to what you have today as the manifesto. And like the Leonard Senior Advocate has tried to explain, the manifesto, I would want to say, it is even beyond a manifesto. I can call it a Marshall Plan. I have gone through manifestos, of different political parties before and of course now. And of course, not only manifestos in Nigeria, but manifestos outside the country. And I'm assuring you, I want to assure Nigerians that this is it. Because if somebody has a plan, and if you want to succeed, you must plan. If you don't plan, it is not generally said that you plan to fail. So this document, which I call now a Marshall Plan for Nigeria, just like they had the Marshall Plan to reconstruct post-World War Europe, is something that I see, as taking off from where Buhari is going to live, the infrastructure and the mileage he has achieved, to launch us into the next phase of developing Nigeria. And if you look at the manifesto, even the executive summary will give you a brief of what really the party and this right honorable gentleman, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is going to achieve. He has sequenced and prioritized these activities in such a way that it makes a lot of sense. Look at the issue of security. You can't talk about development without security. In fact, especially economic development. And Nigeria doesn't have sufficient capital to develop the way we want to develop. We must have foreign capital. And they say capital is a coward. Generally said, it doesn't come into an environment where there is insecurity. We must bear this in mind and look at the emphasis. The strategies he's put in place in the manifesto to fix security. If we say go into details now, we spend the next 2-3 hours discussing the issue of security that are contained in his own manifesto. So once he's able to fix security, the next phase is talking about, manufacturing. And when you say job creation and manufacturing, he's targeting the youth. The rate of unemployment that we have in this country, the teeming millions of youth that don't have employment, is what is also contributing to our problems that we have today in the country. And you can see that he has a clear vision on how to address it, maybe in the first 1-2 years. Then the next one is talking about manufacturing. You talk about manufacturing, also, that's the economy of the country. You are trying to drive an economy that is export oriented. And when you say export oriented, these manufacturing industries, they make sure, they create a lot of jobs too. And they manufacture what we ordinarily are importing now. So you can see that element of, contributing to our foreign reserves. Also that element of creating jobs locally. And at the same time, improving on our, exchange rate as a result of adding value to our foreign reserves. So I can go on and on and on this manifesto, and Nigerians can be amazed. And of course, by the time the symposium is, like he did explain, people are getting more educated on what Asiwaju wants to do. And I believe this is the first time it's happening, that a candidate will come and set up a structure to educate the electorate on what I'm going to do. And they can hold him on what he has promised to do. But before then, I don't think there's any party that has come out to say, this one I'm going to do, and then they can be held responsible for not implementing it. He's open. There's no hiding. So we can see that now the difference is very clear. Doable, achievables, like he did earlier said, with even milestones. And like everybody knows, our candidate has that speciality in putting square pegs in square holes. So that is where the professional forum becomes relevant, because Excellency Madam mentioned that maybe politicians are this. But we are trying to change the narrative about the perception of who a politician is. Every politician is seen as somebody who is a kleptomaniac. He goes into the treasury and starts pilfering. But like my colleague, the ambassador, said, I mean, it's professionals. If you are a real pro-bred professional who knows, his own onions, and he knows that, look, he has a date with death, he wouldn't go and start touching blood money in the treasury. So this is people that we believe have conscience, not the ordinary politicians that we see who is all about how will I make money, how will I cut corners. He has not made it in life. So, I mean, his only way of making it is maybe getting a political, appointment or getting elected into an office. But these are people who have made it in life when it comes to money. So, I think Kingsley, I have attempted to address everything. But if I have more time, I'm assuring you, I will continue talking on the manifesto, and you will sufficiently appreciate that there is depth of knowledge that went into, the manifesto. And like we said, it is something implemented to be implemented with timelines. That's the difference. So yes, we can hold us responsible when we come into government. Hold Asiwaju responsible.
Precisely what I was going to say, Excellency. We do appreciate that you all found time to be on this program, and certainly it won't be the last until the elections. Again, we also hope that when the time comes for the real professionals to do the work, we do hope that they'll be given opportunity. The politicians will not
precisely
over them. We do hope that happens. So let us look at the professionals, the APC Professionals Forum effect now on the key areas that the symposium will focus tomorrow. The Leonard Sake mentioned energy and power, women and youth, and even his body language confirms the fact that sometimes issues of women and youth rarely take the front burner. We said and of course women and youth, but I hope in this it will be given a priority. Okay, so let's look at energy and power, electricity, which is a big challenge, or has been a big challenge. So far, we do acknowledge improvement in power supply, in some parts of the country, at least where I call it MNK district. It's only Kingsley and I that, where the district is located in Abuja.
I don't stay in that location.
No, you don't stay, but you know where it's located.
I know what it means.
You know what it means. MNK, by the way, it's Maraba, Yanya and Karu, so MNK district. Okay. Yes, MNK district. Yes.
Not Mazunam Dekamo.
Okay. Anyway, so let's look at power now. And I'm wondering, what is the professional forum's effect on efficiency power distribution? How can we make power distribution socially beneficial for all Nigerians? Yes, Your Excellency. Let's start with you.
Okay. The Professionals Forum is a support group, a very specialized support group, something that has not happened amongst support groups in the country. What they are working on, they have kind of futuristic approach to issues. Right now is extremely difficult because what we're talking about proposals that are to be implemented by the Asiwaju government that will, inshallah, come to power 29th May 2003. And then 2013, 2023.
Okay.
2023, Kingsley. Okay. So, you see, we are monitoring and we are doing our best to make sure that once that the government comes into place, we will insist in our own ways, and failure on their own part will hold their feet to the fire to insist that this is what you said and you have to implement, or else come whatever excuse that will be acceptable to us. So as far as we're concerned, we'll stick to that, we'll be professional, we'll be adamant, and we'll want the government that will come to stick to its promises.
But what are your areas of concern?
Areas of concern is the whole gamut of electricity, as far as your question is concerned. We are interested in the distribution, we are interested in the generation and transmission. So there are problems there, how the electricity, the whole electricity industry was some partially privatized, some fully privatized to individuals that don't have capacity. So, and this is a crass evidence of lack of professionalism. So if professionals are there, that is likely not to happen. So this is our approach, because definitely the whole ecosystem of electrical or electricity, from generation to distribution to everything, is our approach, and we'll face it squarely. And this, we're not relenting once the government comes in. So we are sensitizing people now to see that this is what Asiwaju has in stock for you, and we want you to take note, and we will pursue to the letter, except if for whatever reason they come up with excuses, but those excuses must be genuine and acceptable to the people.
All right, thank you very much, Ambassador Hassan. Let's bring in again Architect Waziri Bulama. Architect Bulama, I assume that you have an insight into the Asiwaju project and manifesto. And in a sense, I want to go back to part of the question I posed to Dr. Yuguda, that namely, is this a Tinubu project or an APC project? But it's been answered. And I'm then proceeding from that to say, look, what are the baseline assumptions in the Tinubu manifesto? Because we cannot assume that, assuming, for instance, that Tinubu wins the election and is sworn in on the 29th of May 2023, that the entire country is a tabula rasa. No. If you talk about the infrastructural roadmap, there is already a master plan for infrastructure in the country, which is ongoing. And that infrastructural master plan will not terminate on the 28th of May. You say, Asiwaju economic blueprint, there is already a national development plan, incorporating the economic aspects and so on and so forth on manufacturing that Dr. Issa Yuguda talked about. So how does the Asiwaju manifesto divert from or extend what is already in existence that would not terminate by the 28th of May, 2023?
Yeah, you see, going back to the first question you raised with His Excellency, whatever we have in the Asiwaju manifesto, which he refers to as a Marshall Plan, which can be compared to a Marshall Plan, came out of the promise and undertaking of the APC, as a party, because we came together and formed this party in 2013, largely, to address the democratic deficits and governance deficits that were evident, in the first 16 years of our experience, under the Fourth Republic. And of course, the party itself, has its own manifesto, and this Asiwaju manifesto came out of the party's manifesto, as well as the implementation and the experience of our being in power in the last two, tenures, 2015 to 2019, where we promised, to change a lot of things to ensure that rule of law, infrastructure, and so on are addressed. And then in the second, tenure from 2019 to now, where we consolidated on ensuring that institutions of state, the judiciary, the security agencies, the electoral process, all these institutions are strong and self-reliant. They work without interference, and they work in line with the constitution of the country and the constitution, whatever the constitution requires of these institutions. The literature on comparative development studies of nations, when you ask, okay, why are some countries developed or prosperous than others and so on, most experts tell us that the difference actually is in democracy, strong institutions, ensuring rule of law, and infrastructure. And we've done quite a lot in ensuring that the system that we are operating, this democratic system, that is accountable and that is also driven by the people, works, and we've ensured that our leadership does not interfere, in any of the processes that run these institutions. The institutions are strong and independent now, like the developed countries. That's why, for instance, today the emphasis on the campaign, actually, they're all issue-based. They're targeting the voter, unlike the previous, experiences where people would prepare for violence and intimidation and manipulation. But right now, the emphasis is on the voters and on how to persuade and convince voters to come out and vote in line with their conscience. And there's a commitment from our leadership to ensuring that we deliver free and fair elections. So in all these pairs of our undertaking, especially in this Asiwaju manifesto, in agriculture, in youth and women in power, we are building on achievements and attainments that had already been recorded. For instance, the key areas that we are going to address in the symposium tomorrow for women and youth. Obviously, our party has undertaken many affirmative measures to bring in women. For instance, in the processes that led to our conventions and congresses, we ensured that there is more inclusiveness of women, and women were deliberately involved in the choice of delegates. We have also ensured that women, for instance, don't buy forms. They're just expression of interest
like
and so on. And we've also signed this, not too young to run bill where youth are supposed to have, clearer access to. So the manifesto captures this and has more details on how to consolidate on this. And there is, in terms of power too, where His Excellency talked about, power generation, power transmission, and power distribution. Already, the whole country is aware that we have power generated which has not been, taken to distribution. And a lot of investment right now and work is going on to improve the transmission system, so that by the middle of this year or so, we'll not only, as you rightly acknowledge, that there is improvement in power supply in our neighborhoods, MNK, and many others. You see, but throughout the country, power has, improved, and we are seeing that when we transfer power generated to distribution, we believe that there will be reasonable sufficiency, 24-hour power supply in the country, and in terms of energy sufficiency, especially provision of oil, petrol, gas, and other, lubricants.
There are some specific. I'm sorry to interject.
Yes.
There's some specifics.
Yes.
That you could highlight for the benefit of our viewers and ultimately your supporters.
Yes.
Take again the power sector.
Yes.
We've had some threats.
Yes.
Over the last few years to say, look, the privatization exercise of the downstream sector of the power value chain, namely distribution, was poorly done. And therefore, we are going to revise it. And we're going to do X, Y, Z. Is that part of what Asiwaju is promising? We know what the challenges are across the value chain. Gencos, we know the issues with TCN, 100% federal government owned. Is Asiwaju going to unbundle TCN? What is it going to do with the discos? Is it going to say, look, okay, we go back and revise the ESPR, that is Electric Sector Power Reform Act of 2005. What are the specifics? Go back to the Gencos. The Gencos have been having running battles, for instance. They've been having running battles over the price of gas. For those of them that are thermal power stations. What is the plan to say, look, we will stop all this to and fro about today you have gas, tomorrow we don't have gas?
These details will be the substance, of our symposium tomorrow. The symposium is arranged in such a manner that would have an expert who will focus on giving these details, and then we'll have discussants, and then we also have the cream of the Nigerian professional community who already have been mobilized and energized, to come in into this program. So I believe that these details, there may not be sufficient time to discuss these details, as His Excellency earlier mentioned, for us to focus on the specifics of this, the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty, but it will be captured in the manifest, in the symposium tomorrow, and fully, this thing will be fully explained. And suffice to say that the activities of the Professionals Forum has clearly, so far excited and drawn the attention of all Nigerians, professionals, engineers, doctors, the MBA, the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Institute of Architects, and Union of graduates of federal institutions, and so on. So we intend, we will be having them all involved in this discussion. They will be fully involved and mobilized and sensitized to take interest in what we are doing, so that they will see what we are as a party and as a candidate we're offering to Nigerians, to ensure that we set this country in management based on global best practices. As professionals, this is what we're offering. So we'll get them involved tomorrow.
Your Excellency, you'd like to say?
Address that aspect of your question that has to do with the power sector. The manifesto itself is a detailed study of what we've been doing sector by sector, and it has isolated and identified what have been those problems that has disabled us from meeting up to our targets. They have all been isolated, and also solutions have been provided. Just like you spoke about, maybe the discourse we have problems, maybe generation we have problems. All those problems have been sieved, identified, and then solutions have been preferred. And that's why it's not something that we can go into the details, but to satisfy you and satisfy the public, that has been done. That's why I call that document a Marshall Plan. All the nitty-gritties, all the T's and the I's have been, dots have been, T's have been crossed and the I's have been dotted. And I want to assure the public that by the time it comes to implementation, we might not have any person who thinks that he can take Nigeria for granted. Please let him sit down on our side and allow Nigeria to make progress.
Your Excellency, thank you. I don't know, the last time I checked, I don't know how many thousand megawatts capacity that we have installed, maybe more than 13 or thereabout, and also our demand exceeds that. It's about maybe, if not about more than 18 or 20 thousand megawatts. So to bridge that gap would definitely require a Marshall Plan in the power sector.
Yes.
And then you have said you have a Marshall Plan.
Yeah, Claire, I mean, one should also acknowledge what has been said. You said it, and Architect Bulama re-emphasized it. Electricity supply has been great, was great over the holiday period, Christmas and New Year. Everything, I mean, it was pleasant. Well, pleasant.
Fantastic.
But it appeared that near the end of last week, those people who are in charge resumed. And then they started.
You need to come and live in MNK. All right, let's take a short break.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
The security situation in Nigeria has been reasonably stable in spite of activities of unpatriotic elements engaged in various criminal activities around the country. Daily situation reports coming in from states. 2 months ago, it has shown relative peace on many of our highways, such as Abuja, Kaduna Birnin Gwari, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Finally, the hero of Nigeria's democracy has arrived. He shall usher us into a new phase of development, peace, and prosperity. He is the father of the new Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, DCFR. Welcome to another season of giving Nigerians hope yet again. We are sure of a great future for both ourselves and generations yet unborn. We look forward to your leading us as a nation into our manifest destiny. Though the challenges against us as a people are many, we know that your leadership shall set us on the right path to our greatness. A new dawn beckons on us all, and having you as our president is a precursor to this. Thank you for believing in Nigeria. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
All right, welcome back. It's Good Morning Nigeria, and we are dissecting the Asiwaju Manifesto, Renewed Hope 2023 Action Plan for a Better Nigeria. A symposium is being planned for tomorrow here in Abuja, and it's going to be looking at key areas in the manifesto: energy and power, women and youth issues, agriculture, and of course food security. And we're having a conversation around the manifesto and of course these core areas. So let's now get to our Zoom connection, where Leonard Sik Babatunde Ogala is joining us from, and I would like him also, I know you may want to speak on the divergence or convergence of the Asiwaju Manifesto and the other policy documents that are already on ground and might have longer, period of implementation. Kingsley asked the question earlier on, but also take with you, sir. I'd like to know what you intend or what you envisage to do with regards to women and youth issues, other than the usual, free nomination forms, or other than the usual woman leader position, Ministry of Women Affairs and all that. Do you have any paradigm shift? Are you considering any paradigm shift in terms of consideration for these, very unique group of people, namely gender issues, child rights issues, women rights issues, violence against gender, and so on and so forth?
Thank you. But before I go to that, there was the question by Kingsley on whether Asiwaju will unbundle transmission. I think I heard that a few minutes ago. Asiwaju has clearly, I think in one of his town hall meetings with the organized private that transmission has to be unbundled, and that it was going to take that bold step. And if you recall too, far back in 2001, Asiwaju, as governor of Lagos State, was audacious and visionary enough to have thought about Lagos generating its own powers. And he brought in a power company that was generating, I think, about 3.5 kVA. But of course, that project was frustrated by the then federal government because they insisted it had to go through the national grid. So, having been a victim of such, I think I can assure you that Asiwaju Tinubu will be audacious enough, and as he has demonstrated, and he has openly said, he will be audacious enough to go and do this unbundling of transmission. Lagos today does have grids, albeit it cannot be commercialized. So if it could be experimented in Lagos and is worked successfully in the past 15 or so years, I can assure you it will be audacious enough to still go further and do for the country. Then coming to the issue of women and youth, the question was clear. We hope it will be another talk. I'm one who has often said that for anybody, and it is my strong belief, that track record speak for people. Hello? Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was wondering because I could see the network freezing. So I wanted to be sure that I'm still on. That track record speak for people. In the opportunities you have been given on these areas one talks about, what have you done with it? Press to take you back again to what he has stated in his Renewed Hope program. And with your permission, I just want to read out to what Asiwaju has promised. He has clearly stated there that his is not going to be, not in these exact words, is not a government of tokenism. He has clearly talked about affirmative action. He has clearly talked about the role the youth will play in his government. And again, I can only go. Hello? Again? Hello? Again, I can only but go back to track record of what he did when he was governor, what he has done in his politics. Look around Asiwaju, and you see a lot of young people who are thinking for him and working for him. I remember one of the presidential campaign council meetings we had. After he had presented this same manifesto, he called a young man who now came to dissect it. That showed, and he clearly, to use his words, one of the smartest youths who are the future of this country to come and do the dissertation. If you were present with his meeting with the organized private sector in Lagos, you would have seen how he also threw up young people. And of course, how he also threw up women. Asiwaju, in his program, has clearly stated there how he's going to do business mentorship for the young people. He has clearly stated there how he was going to have a youth advisory council. He has clearly stated there how he intends to put together programs for them to have easy access to credit. He has put there clearly how he intends to address unemployment. He has clearly stated there how he is going to address the issue of social political empowerment of young people. So it's a lot of focus. Like I said, it's not tokenism. I again believe so much in one's track record in projecting for what he could possibly do. And he has done it before. Young people were commissioners under him. Young people ran agencies. He uses a lot of young minds, even to run his campaign as currently constituted. Then the women, social inclusion and political, social and political inclusion of women. Again, he has had female deputy governors. He had a female deputy governor. Lagos consistently had female deputy governors. We've had female. I mean, I don't need to again go back to what he has done in Lagos. But on his paper, he has also promised the economic empowerment of women. These are specifics. It is not just tokenism. He has clearly stated what he will do and how he will do it. How he's going to address the issue of domestic violence, which, of course, it's all about women, mostly, who suffer domestic violence and abuse. How is he going to have them the most disadvantage of them? We also know that the women are the most disadvantaged in our society, both poverty level and what have you. Albeit, they are also the most hardworking, truth be told.
All right. Thank you very much, BKSAN. Let's just come back to the studios very quickly and take one aspect. I want to begin on this one with Dr. Asiwaju. Both yourself and the other guests, that's Sebulama and the other guests, have fought shy of providing the details of what you have in the manifesto. But happily, you had a first symposium in November last year, a couple of months ago, where you dealt with, once again, economic blueprint, infrastructural roadmap, judicial and law reform, security. I'm just wondering, against the backdrop of part of the explanation by BK Ogala, that namely, look, this is what Tinubu plans in terms of transmission. Why is it that the evaluation from the first symposium, issues from the evaluation of the first symposium, are not being used?
Mainstream.
Are not being used for public enlightenment, voter enlightenment, and instead, we just keep hearing all these big brats as if, what are the core issues? And what you have also explained here today, why are these ones not mainstreamed into the candidates' communication process?
Exactly.
Well, maybe it's a question of perception, Kingsley. What we've been able to achieve, at least like Ogada did mention, the senior advocate, it's at least we've been out there, we've been heard, we've discussed the content and the import of those topics that were chosen, and of course it is out there because we were the media, the social media, and of course even at our campaign levels in states and even local governments, the manifesto is being discussed. And the good news is that when it was discussed at the national level and the symposium was organized, everybody was excited. What was really the issue? What were the issues that were discussed at the symposium? And people got interested. And when they pick them up as they go out to the field, they discuss them. So I want to assure you that that your fear has been allayed because we are there out in the field, and we know that we are discussing them. We know that we at our rallies we mention them, at our meetings that we meet privately with key stakeholders and some other segment of the society who we normally invite to forums where there are not many. We try as much as possible to communicate this. So maybe you might just recommend that maybe the press, maybe the media should be utilized maybe to continue projecting and spreading the contents and the imports of the manifesto. But I'm assuring you that we are doing our best to communicate. And the earlier Nigerians appreciate the contents of this manifesto so that they know that a government is coming with something at hand to deliver Nigeria. And they can always ask, like I said earlier, it's the first time you can see a manifesto on the ground that makes sense. Something that is doable, something that is implementable. Not a vague document, not a theoretical document, but this is a practical. And you can easily hold somebody to his words. As this thing. People can hold on the political party and also the candidate for what he have written and what they are implementing. So, like you said, I mean, you are absolutely correct. Maybe, like I said, you may have not known the extent to what we are doing. But as far as you are concerned, it's a wake-up call for us that we are not being heard. So I'm assuring you will improve on that. And we have some lead time that we'll be able to manage it.
Okay, Excellency, thank you. In less than a minute that we have, I do hope Your Excellency and Architect Bulama will do justice, utilize the time. I'm just going to ask a question. From your last symposium, do we have an idea how you intend to bridge the gap in the housing sector, which is climbing up to, well, they say more than 20 million.
Yeah.
And education gap? Maybe yes.
This question actually still requires, giving, discussing the details of the manifesto, for which time, may not be, available. But suffice to say that just as a build-up to the question you asked His Excellency, Dr. Yogada, we've been, from the last symposium, we've been able to excite professionals and knowledge workers and thinkers across the board. We've reached out to the NUJ, Nigerian Institute of Architects, Nigerian Society of Engineers, MBA, the Nigerian Medical Association, all these professional groups. They are all, showing interest, and they have actually made undertaking to participate in this program. And in any case, we also make input into the presidential campaign. We have the two major campaign organizations, the Presidential Campaign Council, as well as the independent campaign organizations, and several other campaign formations, targeting the discerning elites, because we are reaching out to this class of people. And the campaign also, has several town halls engagements with Asiwaju. For instance, in all the cities,
Okay, Architect
our candidate engages stakeholders.
Stop you.
Yeah.
Kingsley asked the question.
Right.
What have you been doing, or what have you done with the outcome of your first symposium?
Okay. Our first symposium was one, the fact that we're doing the symposium and people, deluge of people are coming to be members and also to be participants is an indication that we're doing something. And secondly, it's difficult to assess because we don't have, Asiwaju is not in government right now. Until this question will be very cogent when Asiwaju comes in. But before then, we embark on enlightenment.
Yes, all right. I'd like to pause you here because we've spent our time. Your Excellency, Ambassador Hassan Mohammed Hassan, Chairman Symposium Planning Committee, you will agree with me that 1 hour 40 minutes is gone. Certainly not enough to take all the issues that you're doing. So we hope that after the symposium, we'll find time to come to discuss the outcome. Your Excellency, Ambassador Hassan Mohammed Hassan, thank you very much. Architect Waziri Polama, member, BOT APC Professionals Forum and former National Secretary APC, and of course you were a former governorship candidate. Thank you very much for joining us. Your Excellency, Dr. Isa Yuguda, Chairman, Board of Trustees, yes, APC Professionals Forum and former Governor of Bauchi State. Thank you. Also joining us via Zoom, Leonard Sake, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Babatunde Ogala, Contact and Mobilization Subcommittee Chairman. Thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you a successful outing tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at sports now.
Fulham are looking to sign Sharon